All right. So here we go. After we have gone through many steps, we said that there is at every level of spirituality, there are two levels. There is one level which we call Torah, and there is another level which we call Tefillah. Synonym of these definitions is also Nasa v'Nishma. The synonym of Torah is Nasa, and the synonym of Tefillah is Nishma. What it basically means that there is one level which is practical. It is clear what it is that is in front of me and what it isn't supposed to do. And that's the level which I'm holding. Baruch Hashem, we eat kosher. Baruch Hashem, we pour on film. But these are certain things which our reality is comprised by, from, whatever you want to call it. This is where we're holding. This is Prinos Nasa. That's what we do. And then there is a level of Nishma. When Am Yisrael in the Midbar says Nasa v'Nishma, they put the Nasa before the Nishma, meaning, first of all, we are obliging ourselves to do. And then we are open to hear what it is that we're supposed to do. That, without any doubt, is Am Yisrael's finest hour, right? When we said, HaKadosh Baruch Hu Nasa v'Nishma, they said 600,000 angels came down and put two crowns on the head of every Jew. One crown represents the Nasa, one crown represents the Nishma. When Am Yisrael goofed in the sin of the golden calf, they were taken away, says the Gemara. Gemara says that state of taken away, it's not like, okay, forget about it, get out of here, I don't want to talk to you anymore, and forget about it. That's not what it means. It means that once they give something Mishamayim, they don't take it away. We have the story of Rabbi Hanina ben Dosa, who just Daf Yomi, we finished Maseches Tainis, that his wife said we have nothing to eat. And he davened in Mishamayim. They gave him a table, a leg of a table made of gold. So at the night, he dreamt of his wife, I don't remember, that they're sitting in Gan Eden, eating from a table that has 3 golden legs. Everybody else is eating from a table that has 4 golden legs. So they say to each other, would you rather eat an Olam Haba, to have here, a leg made of gold, meaning you sell it and you get whatever extraordinary riches. And Olam Haba, on Cheshbon of Olam Haba. And he says, no. He says, what we're going to do, this is daven, should take it back. So he davened, and a hand came from the Shemayim and they took it back. And they said that the second miracle that they took it back was greater than the first miracle, because Mishamayim, once they give, they don't take. So the same thing is with these two crowns of Nasav and Nishma. That's what the Gemara says, and in the future, Kodesh Baruch Hu is going to give these crowns back. And the pasuk that represents this is the Kodesh Baruch Hu is going to bring us to the service, Simchas Olam al Rosham, an eternal rejoicing, eternal simcha is upon their heads. What is upon their heads? These two crowns. So these two crowns are put together, are lumped together as one thing, Simchas Olam. The Nasav and Nishma represent Simchas Olam. So the question is, what's the difference between a regular Simcha and Simchas Olam? Besides the fact we say Simchas Olam is a perpetual Simcha, fine, okay. But in the actual essence of the Simcha, what is the difference between the two? The essence is that the Simcha in this world, even spiritual Simcha, like Simchas Torah, like a Simcha when you do a mitzvah, and whatever it is, these are Simchas that are, when things succeed, when things work out. A person gets married, Baruch Hashem, he has a son, Baruch Hashem, there's a bris, there's bar mitzvah, there's a chasan, there's whatever it is. It's when there's success. Now, when there is an issue that involves failure, it could be a vera, it could be a lot of different things, So that's, the simcha is not present there. It's not that chas v'chalila, that we push away whatever Kodesh Baruch Hu gives us. But we say before, on the bad, there's a special bracha that the person says, and when there's something good happens, there's a tova meitim, there's a bracha. So we see this, in this world, there's a difference when, when things work out, when things don't work out. So, as we will learn about this nakuda over here, Nasav and Nishma represents a ladder. That when you have a Nasa, you also have a Nishma. Nishma represents the things that either you don't know about them yet at all. In Hasidus they call it a makif, in Kabbalah they call it a makif. So there is a makif which is close to you, and there's a makif that is still what we call a makif le makif. A circumference around. Makif is that which is not inside your faculties. It could be something you know about, such as davening b'chavana. Davening, with the proper kavana. It's easier said than done, or rather easier, wait. Yeah, it's easier said without kavana than done with kavana. But so it's something that I don't hold of yet. When I go to daven in the morning, I'm conflicted. On one hand, I want to daven properly. On the other hand, I want to get the davening over with. Don't tell anybody I told you that. I will flatly deny if you ever said to anybody I said that. But but that's the truth is the truth. What can I do? So the davening itself represents a struggle. But that struggle already is a good place to be. It was very easy not to struggle at all. Just come to the shul, get it over with, and go. Without, I spent most of my life that way. I don't know. That's the way it is. You come and you say, you start with שיבונה בית המקדש במהרה בימינו ותנחלקנו בצערתך. So what about karbonos? Okay, I said it before. Yeah, when you were 7-year-old? When did you say it before? No, people say it before. People say it before. People don't say it at all. Some people. I'm sure that some people say it before. I haven't met them yet, but I'm sure that some people say it before. That kiviyachol, the davening starts from hoidu. You're making a song, you're saying Kaddish, starting with b'shlosh hamidas haTorah nidreshet b'hem, finish. Dova minyayim minyama so dama misayfay shnei tzavachsim benem kashuach yavo kol shlishi, and we'll decide the two psukim that negate one another. And then you start singing, for those who sing, and then you make a kaddish. You say kaddish. Anybody that is sensitized, that knows what halacha is, davening starts from Odon Olam. And then you're supposed to say, according to various, some people say, the Akedah, right? And then there's, the Bekoshes, this is before the Akedah, after the Akedah. And then you say, the first, Pasha of Krishna. And then you get, with the connecting text, and then you get to Karbonos. And then you go through Karbonos. Anybody who learns Hasidus knows that the first part up to Hoidu is a rectification of Olam Asiyah, of this world. From Hoidu until Baruch Hu, that represents the Olam HaYetzirah. Then Kriyat Shema and its brachas, until Shmoneh Esrei, represents the Olam HaBriah. And Shmoneh Esrei represents the Olam HaTzilus. What do you mean I'm jumping, starting from Hoidu? I'm starting from Olam HaYetzirah. Besides the fact that it sounds like an admonishment that feels good. They say b'shem the Esh Kodesh of Pizetzna that some people came to him after Yom Kippur. They didn't manage to be Yom Kippur. They wanted to hear from him. If he could chazer the drasha of Yom Kippur, they wanted to hear it. So he told them, people, they like pleasant, stingy stuff, like a little mashka, vodka. It's like whatever it is. You put it in your whiskey, you put it in your mouth, it stings. It stings the mouth, but it's pleasant. So he told them the Olam likes stingy stuff that is pleasant. He says that's why the people come to hear the drushes of Yom Kippur. What is, you give admonishment and it stings, but it's a pleasant sting. So he says, you want me to chazal the Yom Kippur drasha to you? He says, I'm not your ounce of mashkin, excuse me. to make you feel like a little, So I said, to tell people, listen, davening starts from karbanos is such an admonishment, whereas it stings, but it's a pleasant sting, right? Where am I going tomorrow? I'm going to start from Hoydel. Probably. I'm going to say karbanos. Depends if I come on time or not. It's like. So what about the stinging? Why was it? What about that? The answer is there is a nekuda of schus about the fact that it stings. The very same way that there is schus on the fact that one may go to shul and really be conflicted. I need to daven b'kavona, but I want to get this feeling over with. I just got patience for this. I don't have patience to daven kavana. I'm not really interested, to be honest. I know I have to. Okay, fine, but I'm not really interested. Well, I want to. I want to be able to say the words and mean what they say. Oh, Hodel Hashem kiruv yishmoi. Thank Hashem. Call His name. Announce in the nations Hashem's, doing. I would love to be in the shul, and call it out and sing it out, and basically while I'm davening, to announce to all the nations of the world how great Hashem is. In principle, I'd like that. In Hebrew, they call it begadol. I'd love that. To tell the truth, it's going to be 1,000 times more fun to daven this way than just to grind the words to get it over with. As they say, working hard is a lot more fun than doing nothing, right? You're working hard, it's geschmack. Doing nothing, dehydrates you. But there's a milchama there. There's a war going on because there's a Yitzhar. Yitzhar says, and I say you start from Hoydem. And I said that you just get the tefillah over with. The fact that you are already conflicted about it is already a madrega, as we said before. So the fact that I go to shul, put on my tefillin or whatever it is, this is a nasa. Daven b'chavona for me is a nishma. It's something that I'm striving for. I'm not there yet, but I'm striving for it. So this is a nishma. This is a madrega which is yet beyond me. The process of a person in this world is to continuously take the madrega of nishma, which is that which I'm striving for, and bring it down to a level of, okay, that's where I'm holding. And lo and behold, comes a new nishma, a higher nishma. Something until now I didn't even hear about. or maybe I heard about it, but it wasn't something that I held that is negatory. Okay, waking up chatzos. All right, I mean, it's like a alavai, but it's like so far from it's not even a nishma yet. And the process is continuously, to make from a nishma to make a nasa. And then you get a new nishma, and you go up and up and up. This nasa v'nishma, this kind of seesaw, kind of zigzagging, this kind of going up and up and up, is coined for eternity in the terminology of Teres Hashem and Terosei. First of all, before I said this is Asher Aish, so Teres Hashem, Terosei Yegei Yomam V'Layla. It says that Teres Hashem means that the Gemara says before Matan Torah. Terosei, when you are bringing it down to Nasa, this becomes your Torah. So all the time, the Madrega of Nishma is called Teres Hashem, and Rega of Nasa is called Terosei, your Torah. So the Teres Hashem to make it your Torah, and then you go up to a new Madrega. What used to be Teres Hashem now is your Torah, and there's a new Madrega of Teres Hashem, which you're supposed to bring in, and then you get another one, and so forth and so on. Forever and ever and ever, until you get to a point of the very beginning of creation. There's a Tchilas Atzilus, that's a very, very, very beginning of that. There, the Teres Hashem is Kivyochel Teres Hashem Mamish. Because the Gemara says, how do we know Kodesh Baruch Hu learns Torah? How the Kodesh Baruch Hu puts on tefillin, Kodesh Baruch Hu is putting on tefillin, he's davening. Kodesh Baruch Hu is mekayim the entire Torah. So the Teres Hashem is mamish Teres Hashem. When you get to this madrega, when you reach the very beginning of creation, of Atzilus, the highest nekuda of Atzilus, you are achieving a level of Torah where your Torah is Teres Hashem mamash. And Tfilas Hashem, in your Tfilah, you said Torah and Tfilah, your Torah is Teres Hashem, your Tfilah is Tfilas Hashem. The Gemara says, where do we find Kodesh Baruch Hu davens? It said, and I will rejoice them in my house of prayer. Kodesh Baruch Hu davens. He says, what is the Kodesh Baruch Hu daven? What does he pray? He says, may there be will before me that my rachamim, my compassion, will overcome my strictness. Kodesh Baruch Hu davens to himself, Chaya Madriga. This entire Torah uses that Indian of coming to Kodesh Baruch Hu and saying, you daven for me, because I can't do it from beginning to the end. And this is where we hold. And he says as follows. Let's just go before it. A person needs to keep on climbing forever, from one madrega to the next. Until you will acquire every time. You'll get a nasa v'nishma that is higher. That it will become by you every single time that which is nishma by you now, that which is unknown to you now, or unutilized now, or theoretical, it's in theory now. Pchinas tefillah. Tefillah means that you wish for it, you're striving for it. Pchinas divrei Torah shesvivus hamitzvah. These are the words of the Torah. The Torah has a lot of words around the mitzvah that we have no idea how you say HaKadosh Baruch Hu with them. For instance, like the Torah does not say a single word which is not Letzorah. Vayom Hashem el Moshe Leimer, it says they tell the Jews to eat kosher, to eat Shabbos. It says Vayom Hashem el Moshe, Vayom Hashem el Moshe Leimer, Vayom Hashem said to Moshe Leimer. Why does he have to say that? He says keep Shabbos. Well, that's why we know Hashem said to Moshe. Why every time it says Hashem said to Moshe? Because there is a hidden avodah in avodas Hashem in these words as well. But we don't know what it is. They seem so plain. They seem so technical, so utilitarian. They come to serve. That's what happened. Hashem said to Moshe, this and this we're supposed to do. The main thing, keep Shabbos, eat kosher, but the Torah does not say words in vain. Nothing is superfluous. There is avodas Hashem in this, but we don't know what it is. This is called nishma. For us, it's a madrega of nishma. When we look at it, we don't see anything. Just see like information. Hashem said to Moshe, okay. This is nistar. This is nishma. This is Teres Hashem. This is the level which is beyond us. In other words, above our pay grade. To make from this, Pchinas Nasa. Make from those madregas, Nasa. Pchinas Nigla. Pchinas Torah. Pchinas Torasa. In other words, these are all synonyms of a madrega, of something which is relevant, which is something that I live, something that I do, that's my reality. And then, then you'll have a higher nishma. Once you're bringing in, you strove for something. Before you made tshuva, the whole Yiddishkeit was a nishma for you. Then you made tshuva, and you got in, and step by step, you got more things in, more things in, more things in. And then, okay, now that's your reality. You eat kosher, you keep Shabbos, and whatever it is. And the high madrig is tefillah b'kavana, or whatever it is, or Chasidus, or a lot of different things. It's still pchinas nishma for me. And the idea is to strive forever to get higher and higher. You should go from one madrega to the next, one step to the next, higher and higher. Until you come to the very beginning of the Nekuda where the creation itself started. And there also there is Nasav and Nishma. That level of Nishma that exists there in the beginning of all creation, it's higher than all the elements. It's higher than the Atzilus. This is really Teres Hashem. Which means that which we call Teres Hashem as a synonym for the Nishma, as a synonym for that which I still don't hold on. Maybe I know about it, don't know about it, but we used that term of Teres Hashem as a euphemism. It's a term that I still don't know how to handle it. I still cannot wrap my mind around it. It's not really Teres Hashem. It's Teres Hashem. The whole thing is Teres Hashem. But it's not a level of Teres Hashem. That's a Teres Hashem learns, and everybody who's created is not learning it. It's just that I don't learn it still. So still for me, it's called Teres Hashem. All these madrigas up to that Nekuda. But from that Nekuda up, the Torah is Teres Hashem mamish. It's mamish the Torah that Hashem learns. And then when you actually become included and absorbed and fused in Ein Sof, in the infinite himself, then your Nasa becomes Teres Hashem mamish. You are learning Torah. This is Teres Hashem mamish. Now you can understand a little bit the difference between the Torah that we learn, the Torah that tzaddikim learn. Because they learn Torah on a much higher level of Nasa and Nishma than I do. their Torah is much more Torah Hashem than my Torah. Even though my Torah is a Torah Hashem. I made it from Torah Hashem to my Torah. But whenever it is that I learn Torah Hashem, by learning it, I quote unquote be megashim it. I make it more gashmisdik. It becomes my Torah, the way that my mind understands it, the way that my mind is able to wrap itself around this particular issue, that particular sugya, that particular hasaga that I'm learning. The minute I understand it, it becomes confined in my faculties. Torah Hashem is a Torah that has no boundaries, is endless. I do not understand endless Torah. Anything which is undefined, I cannot understand. I need to define, I need to chop it down to little pieces. If the pieces are too big, I can't chew it. I have to cut it down. Just to be, something that fits into my mind. It started by being Torah Hashem. For me, it was considered to be infinity. But I didn't know it. It wasn't really infinity yet. It's considered infinity because I didn't know it, and together with everything else I don't know, it's infinite. It's infinite. They say that the Baal Tanya once was in a wedding, in a chasana, and by the chasanas there are the batchanim. They say grammar, they say jokes, they say funny things, whatever it is, and that batchan went from one person to the next. And chop it with him a little bit, stung a little bit, whatever it is, say, whatever, joked with him, whatever it is. So when he got to the Baal Tanya, he skipped him and he went on. So according to that particular story, I don't know if it happened or not, I don't know, but according to that particular story, Baal Tanya says, hey, what about me? Why don't you tell me something? So the Bachman said, he's afraid. He's a smart fellow, right? He's afraid I'm not starting up with you. I mean, it's like so Baal Tanya says, no, you can say whatever you want. I promise you, there'll be no kpeda. I will not get upset with you. So, according to this story, again, that person said to the Baal Tanya as follows. He says, everything that I know, the Rebbe knows. Now, everything that the Rebbe does not know, I don't know. The difference between us is that which the Rebbe knows and I don't know. He says, what is that difference, what the Rebbe knows and I don't know, when compared to what there is still to know? According to the story, the Baal Tanya put his face down on his head and started crying on the spot. Again, I don't know if it's a true story or not. I don't know. But you understand that what is being said over here is that that's the meaning that the Torah that I don't know is euphemistically called Torah Hashem. But it's still Torah that if I get higher, it'll become my Torah. But every time I go up, I make it gashmiistic. I materialize it. I constrict it. I make more gashmias out of it. It becomes Torah, my Torah. When you are fusing yourself, you get to this madrega of Tchilas Abriya, you're fusing yourself to Ein Sof, you become Ein Sof. Your Torah is Torah Hashem Mamish. When you learn Torah, you open up a Gemara, you learn Torah, you learn Torah Hashem Mamish. When you daven, it's Tfilas Hashem Mamish. When you get into answer. And your tefillah Tosh Hashem, as Chazal said, Ani kenti atchila, Kodesh Baruch Hu is Makam Torah first. As they said, Kodesh Baruch Hu Mabi Sharumim, Kodesh Baruch Hu dresses up people that need clothing. As it says, Kodesh Baruch Hu made clothing for Adam Chava, right? Uvakicholim, Kodesh Baruch Hu visits the sick. Avram Avinu, right? It was third day after the Milah, Kodesh Baruch Hu came to visit him. Uvakicholim. And Chazal says, how do Kodesh Baruch Hu puts on film? He says, Nishba Hashem bizroa uzay. Hashem has taken an oath with the arm of his strength. What is the word? His left arm? Did it film? And there is a Torah that's a Torah Kodesh Baruch Hu learns is Makayim. There's Tfilas Hashem. There's also a Bechina of Tfilas Hashem. Chazal said, how do we know Kodesh Baruch Hu is Mispalel? So I shall, rejoice them in the house of my prayer. The house of my prayer is Kodesh Baruch Hu davened, Kodesh Baruch Hu prays. May there be will before me that my compassion will overcome my strictness. So you find that there is Teres Hashem, and there is Tfilas Hashem. And when you merit to be included and to fuse yourself into infinity, the Torah is actually Teres Hashem. Your tefillah is mamash tefillas Hashem. When you daven, Kodesh Baruch Hu is davening. What happens is, what does it mean that my daven is davening with Hashem? Means that when you daven, when you're in this madrega and you daven, it causes a Kodesh Baruch Hu to daven for you. It causes a Kodesh Baruch Hu to daven for Hashem. That's what Chazal said. Anybody who asks, who begs succor and compassion for his friend, and he needs that same thing himself, he is being answered first. The fact that that person needs that thing, but he's not asking for himself, he's asking for his friend, because that person is in a level of Ein, fused in Ein Sof, in infinity, like I don't exist. Total submission to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And you are standing in a beginning. You are a beginning. You are Bereshis. You have Shukodim Abrid. The Tchila is before creation was, happened. And since you are you are at that level of Tchila, this is why you're being answered for, because you're standing there. The whole Shefa comes to the world through you. So your merit fills whatever it is that you need first. Reb Nosson explains this last portion here. It seems to have nothing to do with what we said before. And he says, supposedly it seems disconnected from what we said before. Torah and Philo, stepping step by step. What's it got to do with you davening for somebody else? What's it got to do with it? He said, but really, anybody who really looks into this Torah a little bit deeper, it's very clear that Tfilas Hashem takes place before creation. The B'chinas Ein Sof. This is the Tchila. This is the beginning. That level is an Ein. There's no Yesh there yet. There's no Isness yet. It's B'chinas Ein. There's nobody that can attain this particular madrega. The only way you can attain that madrega, you can reach that level, is if there's no me anymore. There's no you anymore. There's nobody to take and squeeze down the Teres Hashem in Terasai and the Tfilas Hashem in Tfilas. Teres Hashem into my Torah, Teres Hashem into my Torah, Teres Hashem to my Torah. There's just a Kadosh Baruch Hu. You're already holding before the world. Now that you're onav be'emes, you're really, really, really humble. This is where you totally mevatel yourself. You're like annihilate yourself. It's like you don't exist in the world at all. Until you become included, infused in Ein Sof. There is Tfilas Hashem. And we have later on, Rabbeinu says about this, a certain Maisa from the Gemara, that Eliezer Zeira, wore black shoestrings. So they asked him, why are you wearing black shoes? Apparently it's something they didn't wear. So he says, I'm mourning Yerushalayim. So they asked him, who are you? Are you important enough to mourn for Yerushalayim? In other words, they suspected him for haughtiness and holding something of himself. So he said, as you'll see, and we'll learn later on this story, he said, ask me anything you want. Halachas, anything you want. What's it got to do with anything? Because we have a principle, anybody is a Baal Gaiva, his chachma leaves him. So if that thing that he is publicly mourning Yerushalayim, in other words, by his shoes you can tell he's mourning Yerushalayim. If that would have been an outcome of Gaiva, then his chachma would leave him. If they were asking questions, he wouldn't know what to answer. We learned in Masechet Titus, we just made a siyum last night. My son made tremendous food for that siyum. I want to thank him here. And we were able to rejoice. So in Masechet Titus, this is what it says. So what has the story got to do with anything? It says, and this, Mekusha Heitev, what we said afterwards, and what Chazal said, Eliezer Zeira, and so forth, that story that they suspected him of gadlus, that's why they put him in jail. And this is Raglin because he was wearing, black straps. Yehovah has nothing to do with the gam of gadlus of this Torah. Until now, we were not talking about Gaiva B'chlal. This entire Torah has nothing to do with Gaiva. But really, what we say before is very clear, that in order to get this inyan of Nasav and Nishmo, a high Nasav and Nishmo, until you get to the point where you are included and infused with Ein Sof, in Tcheles Abriya, it is not possible to do this until you rid yourself of any smidgen of Gaiva, of Yeshus, of, check me out, completely. Gadlus is the opposite of Ein. Gadlus is Ana Emloch. Check me out. Hey, what am I, chopped liver? No, look at me. And Kol Zeif shall discuss Kilo the Abnova Be'emesh Ubchinas Ein. Now it's very clear. Anybody davens for his friend, he answers first, because the only way you can get anybody davens for a friend, he needs the same thing. Even though he needs it, but he doesn't for his friend. This is another. This is humility. You're mavachel yourself. You don't worry about yourself. You only feel the sorrow of your friend, of Israel, another Israel. With that beetle, you become Ein. You become Tchilo. You become Kodem Abriya. Chinas Nishma. Tfilas Hashem. That's why you are answered first. And the kula that I want to say about this particular thing, and with this B'ezrat Hashem will end, is that it sounds like Pinchas Grundman, we love you. What does it to do with our lives? Can you please tell us? Talking about holding a madrega where you're beginning of the bria, the spitz of Olam Atzilus. What do you want? I just finished a marvelous beef stew with potatoes. You're talking about Sabria, yeah, a Nava. What are you talking about? What it got to do with me? The answer is here in what Nelson says. It's not just that through a Nava, you're able to daven for your friend. You don't look about yourself, you're davening for your friend. A Nova makes it possible. It's not just that. It works the other way around also. If you are trying to get higher to a higher madrega of Nasa, and what's standing on your way? Gaiva. You know what you want to do? Smear potato, ketchup all over my face. What am I supposed to do? Daven for your friend. Daven for a friend. Because through a novel, you can daven for a friend. So if you daven for a friend, you're zeicha to a novel. It go worth both ways. And once you're zeicha to a novel, you can go to a higher, get a nishma, make a higher nishma, making to you nicer, and you get another new nishma. Climbing up the ladder requires anova, requires humbleness. And it's encapsulated in the story of whoever davens for his friend, he's zeicha to tchila. There you have it. Take a look from the other side. Daven for your friend, you were zeicha to anova. Zeicha to tchila. In other words, you're zeicha to go up another madriga and another madriga, another madriga. B'ezrat Hashem should be mezaka each and every one of us to daven for our friends, to be zeicha to anova, and to look at the siddur in the morning and say, you know something, maybe today I'm going to daven at the very beginning of Filas Shachris. As it says, first of all, you start, I really make kabbalah lots of mitzvahs. I say, Shel v'afta l'reacha kamocha, and start davening there. Because I hate to tell you, it feels to us as if, I started already from Hodu, okay, let's just go on tomorrow, I'll start. According to halacha, if you started from Hodu, when you're done davening, you have to go back and daven everything you didn't daven. You have to say everything you didn't say. I know you're going to be upset with me for letting you know. Oh, man. Now I'm supposed to go back. I thought the start from Hodu, I'm done. I'm part of, yeah, no, shouldn't have done it. But hey, what do you want? I was late, whatever. No, you're supposed to daven the whole thing. You didn't say it until, by the way, the Baal Tanya holds not like this. The Baal Tanya says, if you don't have time to daven the whole tefillah from the beginning with the tzibur, he says, daven b'yechidus, says the Baal Tanya. Daven b'yechidus is because you're mixing up the oilumas. If you daven b'hoidu before you start with karbanos. He says, daven alone, says the Baal Tanya. But don't daven without karbanos. And to our Lubavitcher friends, I want to say that there is, and I think it's a Geras HaTshuva, I'm not sure, that the Lubavitcher Rebbe says anybody who davens regular day shachris, not a Monday and Thursday, a regular day shachris, less than an hour and a half, not to come to my Divrei Chasidus, into the Baal HaTanya says that, all right? It's Prinus Nishma. All right, I get it. let's get it down to NASA. Because we should know that it said that. B'ezrat Hashem, I wish all of you, Gevaldige week, Gevaldige end of the week. B'ezrat Hashem, tomorrow we have the shir in the Breast of the Shul on Thursdays at 8:00 in B'ezrat Hashem. It's going live and in person. And whoever comes there is blessed. We will have also a contact via Zoom in B'ezrat Hashem to learn. And B'ezrat Hashem, tomorrow we're learning a different hair.